In our country, we do not have direct democracy. You do it through freely chosen representatives who get to vote on this floor. The residents of the District of Columbia get to choose me, but I do not get to vote even on matters affecting their local concerns. Article 25 also says to have access on general terms of equality to public service in this country. The residents have access to public service. I serve as a member of Congress, but we do not have that right in terms, quote, of equality, because I cannot vote once I become the member chosen to exercise that service. Moreover, let me note that when my party was in power, using House rules, I was given the right to vote for the residents of the District of Columbia on matters coming to the so-called Committee of the Whole. Imagine, after getting a right that is not the full right to vote even on most matters in this chamber, when my Republican colleagues came to power, they took even that right, the right to vote in the Committee of the Whole, from the people of the District of Columbia. Is that, my friends, equality? Or is that discrimination against the residents of your own nation's capital? The report refers also to Article 26. That's worth quoting. All persons are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to the equal protection of the law. In this respect, the law shall prohibit any discrimination and guarantee all persons equal and effective protection against discrimination on any ground. Then they name some, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, and here's the one that applies to us, or other status. What is the other status of the residents of the District of Columbia? Their status is that they reside in their nation's capital, the only nation in the world that denies the residents of their capital the same rights that the residents in their country enjoy. Nor is there any question that there are more than enough Americans here to be granted statehood or at least equality. Two states of the Union that have 2 senators and 1 representative have fewer residents than the District of Columbia. Here is one, the lowest population in the country, Wyoming. Next is Vermont. And finally, with considerably more residents, almost 650,000, the District of Columbia. And we're soon going to overtake a number of other states, the district is growing. So much growing, there's been an attempt to raise the so-called Height Act, where there is a limit on how high buildings can be because of the need to expand housing and office supply. That attempt was turned back because residents were more concerned with the low-scale residential quality of their city. We're talking about, Mr. Speaker, 650,000 people. That's about the size of an average congressional district. And look how the district grows. On an average, more than 2% a year for more than 10 years now. In the last couple of years, it's grown by almost 2.5%. And just compare that with growth in the United States itself. The United States population grew not by 1% or 2%, but by 0.7% in the last couple of years. We live in one of the most rapidly growing regions in the country. This is called the National Capital Region. Maryland and Virginia are the closest states. And yet the district growing more than 2% compares to Virginia, which grew only 0.9%, and Maryland, which grew only 0.7%. During my remarks this week on the floor, I selected the two most basic obligations of statehood to test whether the district is being denied its rights. I began with taxes because I think people fret most about paying taxes, and almost all of us have to pay taxes, not because taxes are more important. Who thinks taxes are more important is the Republican majority. They are obsessed with taxes, so you would think that they would want to do something about people who pay taxes but don't have representation. Taxes is about the only issue that the Republican majority cares about. But by taxes, they mean cutting taxes. Yet, they raise taxes by imposing taxes without representation on the people of the District of Columbia. They're happy to take more than $3 billion annually out of the pockets of our people with no vote on whether those taxes should be raised or lowered. But the most surprising fact about taxes in our country is what individuals pay the most. Well, if I were to ask you to guess, you probably wouldn't come up with the District of Columbia. Well, let me clarify. Of the residents of all the 50 states, the residents of the District of Columbia pay more federal taxes per person than the residents of any of the 50 states.